The Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 3 has just released on Disney Plus, and I've had a chance to watch the episode, which includes a return from Zemo, some good action, Marvel Easter eggs, and more to break down. In particular, I'm going to be explaining the plot and ending for episode 3 of the new Marvel show entitled Power Broker, in the aim to help you guys gather a greater sense of what happened. This analysis will also contain spoilers, so if you do happen to be someone who hasn't watched episode 3 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, then I would recommend watching this video after you've caught up. If you want to see more videos on all of the Disney Plus Marvel shows, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoy this video, remember to leave a like rating. But without further ado, let's dive into my breakdown and explained video for episode 3 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So The Falcon and the Winter Soldier has finally started to heat up this week, bringing in more of the Captain America characters and moving the plot along in a solid direction. I didn't enjoy the first 2 episodes as much because of the slow building interest of the story alongside some of the characters, but this one is definitely a step in the right direction. This week's installment brings in 2 familiar characters, with Daniel Bruhl's Zemo, the mastermind behind all the scraps in Civil War, and Emily Van Camp's Sharon Carter, the grandniece of Steve Rogers' one true love Peggy, who is revealed to be pretty handy in a fight herself. Anyway, now all of these figures are together in the Disney Plus sandbox, and it's time for The Falcon and the Winter Soldier to kick into gear. And on that front, episode 3 did not disappoint. Beginning with a reminder that John Walker isn't quite the Captain America we're used to, it's not long before we're back with Bucky and Zemo as they face off in a cell. Last time this happened, Bucky went on a killing spree, but this time he's not under Zemo's control, or at least not directly, because somehow, even from his position of weakness, Zemo seems to be pulling the strings. Within minutes of catching up with Bucky, he's convinced him and Sam break him out of jail, or at least convinced Bucky, who has already orchestrated the escape before Sam knows about it. A moment later, and he's got them on his private plane, sipping champagne as he brings them to a mysterious island nation called Madripoor, where the 3 hope to find the truth about the super soldier serum that's apparently empowered the Flag Smashers. Altogether, Zemo is having a lot more fun here than he did in Captain America Civil War, and in fact, I can't remember him ever being as sassy. Whether he's convincing Sam to try out his awesome clothing or a Marvin Gaye soundtrack, this version of Zemo adds a certain flash of fun to the events. And they've even now made him a Baron, tying into his comic book persona, where he's a masked villain called Baron Zemo. And yes, it's the same mask he wears in this particular episode. But in Madripoor, a fake country apparently taken from the Marvel comics, the unlikely trio follow a series of quests, which involves Bucky going undercover as his former Winter Soldier self. This eventually leads to the death of a significant crime boss and a bounty being announced on Sam, Zemo and Bucky. But luckily, they have someone looking out for them. This one person involves the reintroduction of Sharon Carter. Introduced as a potential love interest for Steve Rogers in the second Captain America film, Sharon hasn't exactly been a huge part of the MCU, but after stealing back Captain America's shield and Sam's wings for the climactic battle in Captain America Civil War, she's apparently a wanted woman, forced to live on the run and move into crime to support herself. Sam blames his years blipped for his lack of attempts to help her, but this whole situation does slightly strain that something is true here. In the 5 years or so between Infinity War and most of Endgame, did Steve really not think to help Sharon, when all she did was pick up some gear for him? Considering pretty much all the Avengers on Steve's side did worse than Sharon and were pardoned, why is she getting the short end? Either way, the experience has left Sharon pretty cynical, but willing to help in return for a pardon. Before long, she's brought Sam, Bucky, and Zemo to a shipping container, which is actually a secret lab containing Wilfred Nagel. But don't worry about remembering his name, because he'll be dead in a few minutes. Before he goes though, Wilfred handily gives us some plot exposition about what exactly is going on. Turns out that he was hired by Hydra, then the CIA, to recreate the super soldier serum, using blood samples from Isaiah Bradley to make a more streamlined, easier to administer serum. Isaiah was introduced last week as a kind of follow-up Captain America, though if they recreated the serum well enough in the 1950s to make him, when did they lose the formula again? But then we learn that Nagel was blipped, his research gathering dust, and when he returned he went to the mysterious power broker to have it continued more profitably. Unfortunately for him, Karli and her flag smashers stole all 20 vials, giving them the strength we've seen in previous episodes. His job done, Nagel is promptly shot by Zemo, who's still on his anti-superhero crusade, and Sharon's attempts to fight off thugs outside leads to the explosion of the lab. It seems like Zemo, masked and dangerous, could be behind it all, but after fighting a few of the bounty hunters, he instead finds another fancy car and picks up his new partners, ready to chase down a lead about Karli. Must I say, I'm excited to see more of this unlikely trio, as it was by far the standout thing in this episode. But back to the events, Karli herself is mourning a friend who died, stealing food supplies, and getting more ruthless day by day. Elsewhere, her pursuer John Walker is getting frustrated by the dead ends, opting to go off books himself to track down Sam, Bucky and Zemo, and in turn, hopefully completing his mission. And if that wasn't enough, there's another interesting plot point. In Riga, where Karli was hinted to be, Bucky notes a small metal sphere on the ground. Following a trail, he finds his way to meet a familiar face introduced in Civil War. "I was wondering when you were going to show up," he says to Florence Kasumba's Io, a member of the Wakandan Royal Guard last seen in Black Panther. "I'm here for Zemo," she replies. As helpfully noted earlier in the episode, the Wakandans have not forgiven him for orchestrating the death of their previous King T'Chaka. But that was my brief breakdown video explaining the plot and ending for episode 3 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So this was a particularly packed episode and a slightly longer than normal one, as we got more of a sense of the shape that the Falcon and the Winter Soldier is taking. Clearing up the mystery of the Flag Smashers this early was probably a good move, though we still don't know who the power broker is. And Zemo has brought a surprising amount of fun and laughs for a guy who previously spent his time listening to voicemails of his dead family and doing murders. And the Wakanda-based twist, well, it may be our first look at how Marvel will continue that country's story following the tragic death of Chadwick Boseman last year, and is sure to attract some attention for that. How exactly it will all tie together in the end is anyone's guess, but it definitely feels like we're building towards something bigger. I'm giving episode 3 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier an 8 out of 10. I hope you guys enjoyed my breakdown and brief review, and overall, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in episode 4 of the new Marvel show, which I will be covering on the channel next week. I'm also intrigued to hear all of your thoughts on episode 3, so let me know down below in the comment section, as well as listing your predictions for episode 4. For more content on The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Also, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like rating. I am covering every episode of Season 1, alongside bringing constant updates on all the new Marvel shows, so make sure to keep a lookout for whenever I post. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I've been Cortex, and as always, make some noise.